Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a layout that I'm creating for Mystical Scrapbooks. October is the Sketch Plus month, and the sketch I'm going to use today is by Louise Turner. It's supposed to be a double page layout, but I've decided to just do a single page. The photos are from my trip to Egypt last year, and they were taken at the pyramids. I'm going to use this sort of fawny coloured paper because it reminds me of the colour of the sand over there, and I'm going to use that as a frame around my white background paper. The cardstock that I'm using is Colourmates Light Creamy Cocoa. So I'm going to trim that down to 12 inches by 12 inches, and then I'm going to cut the middle out of it, just leaving a 1-inch frame. Now that I've got my background frame cut down, I'm going to cut my white cardstock down to 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. The pattern papers that I'm using on this layout are Kaiser Craft papers, and they're from the Native Breeze collection. I'll put a link to the papers that I'm using in the description box. I'm using my Versa Colour Black ink cube to ink around the edges of my white cardstock, and then I'm going to use double-sided tape to attach the cardstock to the base frame. The sketch actually calls for 4 photos that measure 4 inches by 3 inches, but I'm going to use 2 6x4s in their place. So I'm going to start with this paper. It's the one called Native Flock, and I'm going to use the red side of that. I'm going to cut that so that it's 3 inches by 4 inches, which will be my top panel section from the sketch. I'll use this Eucalyptus pattern to cut another piece that is also 3 inches by 4 inches, and that will be my bottom panel for my layout. Time now to work on my photos. I'm going to use the piece of cardstock that I cut out of the middle of the background piece to mat my photos on. So I'm going to cut, the photo mats will be 6 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and of course I'll cut that twice. Off screen, I've filed around the edge of my photos and then inked around the edge of it. I have also inked around the edge of my photo mats and attached some cardboard to the back so that my photos will be risen off of my layout. I'm now going to attach my photos to the photo mats. The pieces of pattern paper, the turquoise and the red, also got the same treatment. They got the ink around the edge and the cardboard attached to the back. In the sketch there's a bit of treatment in the back of the layout, so for this I decided to do some pyramid shapes. I have got some gilding flakes that I have not used before, so I thought now would be a good time to give it a try. I laid down some double-sided tape in the shape of the pyramids, which I drew onto my background using a pencil. Now it was time to apply the gilding flakes. I peeled some of the backing off of the double-sided tape and proceeded to apply some of the gilding flakes. To do this, I just put the flakes on top of the tape and then gave them a good rub. This stuck the gilding flakes to the double-sided tape, and where there was no double-sided tape, the gilding flakes would not stick, so that worked out quite well. This is the first time, as I said, I've ever used gilding flakes, so it was a learning curve for us both. So once I had done it on that one run of tape, I got a bit braver and I took the rest of the tape off and applied the gilding flakes to the rest of the pyramid design. I was really quite happy with how this ended up working out, but unfortunately when I actually go ahead and do my layout, most of the gilding is covered up by the photos and the elements. Anyway, it's in the background and I know it's there, and I'm quite happy with it. Now it's time to start putting my layout pieces together and sticking them in place. I did play around with the placement of my elements, trying to get the best value out of my gilding, but I just basically stuck to the sketch. I had these curios that go with this paper range, and I thought about using one of those on my layout, but it works out that I don't end up doing that. Using the same two papers that I've already used on the layout, I cut a couple of little strips. I can't remember how long they are, probably about 3 inches, and about 3/4 of an inch wide, and I ink around the edge of those, layer them on top of each other and put them just to the left of the bottom photograph. I've got these sequins, red sequins, they're heart-shaped and circle-shaped, and by 28 Lilac Lane, and I'm going to apply some of those just scattered around here and there on my layout, just for a bit of added interest. I'm just going to use my clear drying glue to attach each one of those sequins to my layout. The sketch calls for the title to be in the bottom rectangle, but I've decided to put mine in the top rectangle. I'm going to use these craft coloured alpha stickers, and the title is going to be The Pyramids, and I try to mess around with putting it on like straight up and down, but could not fit it, so I've had to turn the title sideways onto my page. So I go ahead and attach those to that rectangle, and I use my T ruler to make sure I get it as straight as I can. The layout looked like it needed something else, so I got my Uniball fine line pen and did a scribbly border around the edge of the white cardstock base. I did a double scribbly border just to add a bit of weight to it. And that completed my layout for today, so hop over to Mystical Scrapbooks and check out their challenge. I'll put a link in the description box below. And don't forget, if you have enjoyed watching my video, I'd love it if you subscribed, if you're not already a subscriber. And if you click the bell next to the subscribe button, you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you for joining me here today, and I hope you can join me for my next video. Bye.